This is my good friend and colleague, Paul Kirschbaum. I'm Leslie Wooten. It's 10:33. Let's get into it. Today's topic, it's a big one, AVT, A versus T, actual versus theoretical. Whatever you call it, it's your actual food cost versus your theoretical food cost. So let's start off right away. Paul, yes or no, you can directly impact your bottom line by identifying where you're losing product.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Very simple. Yes.
Okay. Now, there's some tricks to be able to identify where you're losing product, and it's not always obvious, but you can quickly help your bottom line, help your profit by identifying through AVT what that lost product is. So let's get some definitions out there for anybody who's watching and may think they know, or just want to clarify. So some simple things here: ordering, sales, and inventory. Tell me a little bit about that.
Ordering your POS system, you're tracking what you are selling, basically, on that side of it. And to get to these numbers, you need inventory to track what you have in house and what you bought, and then you have to have your food costs for each recipe, drink, whatever it is. You need to basically track all those things. Actual is literally the exact number of what you sold and what your inventory and the matching exactly.
Right.
Your theoretical is we think this is what it does. In a perfect world, it does this.
Right. In theoretical, the more details you have built into your recipes, you're saying that this many ounces of this equals this, and this quantity of XYZ product broken down into each product. When I sell it, it costs me this much, and I'm selling it for this much, where you're basically, looks like you're selling ingredients rather than just whole items, is really going to track down to which ingredient is your problem child or bestseller, whichever way it be. Would that be accurate for determining theoretical?
Yep, that's pretty spot on. I think there's different levels of it. You can go as a restaurant, as you're selling everything. You can do it by category: beverage, alcohol, food, whatever way you want to break it down. But then there's also smaller ones, like in your food cost, your exact food cost of a dish, of one dish. What's your theoretical versus your actual? Theoretically, it should be 30% food cost, and depending on what your number is, it could be 35, it could be 28. And then your actual is you want to match that to your theoretical. That's the point of it. But not everybody tracks actual. Most people track theoretical.
Right. Right. And you said 30%, and I agree with you that that's a good number to strive for, but even individual items on your menu are going to hit a different variance. That you may have something that's 28, 29, you may have something that's 31, 32, and that's because typically on a menu, we don't have prices like $15.37. Would have, $15.50 or $16, which is going to lower or increase that actual food cost and eventually that theoretical food cost, because we're picking more relatable numbers on our menu that are going to change that 30%. So you may have an item on your menu that is 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, but overall you want a consistent food cost throughout your entire menu.
Yeah, there's a menu cost and then there's an item cost. I mean, a food cost. So you want your menu as a whole to be around, let's say 30. It's industry average. I'm not saying if you're a seafood restaurant, you're going to run something higher.
Sure.
But you want to say you're around that. Now you might have something that's 40%. That's food cost. Well, that might be your margin thing. Because let's before we go down a rabbit hole, you can't take a percent to the bank. So, people are like, oh, I want 30% food cost, 30% food cost. Well, I want my margin to be big. I'd rather take $10 to the bank at a higher food cost than $2 to the bank at a 28% food cost.
Yep, totally agree with that. If you're not selling anything, you're not making any money, no matter how spot on your theoretical is.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Why should actual and theoretical be the same?
Well, theoretical should be what you're striving for. So, you're not always, that's in a perfect world, zero waste, perfect cut onion, no sendbacks. I mean, everything has to be perfect to actually make that. So your theoretical is basically, this is where I strive to be. So I tell people, make your theoretical as aggressive as you want, but realistic. Let's just be somewhat realist about it. I use it as a benchmark for bonuses, or for trying to make it to a certain level as a kitchen or the bar or whatever. It's basically a benchmark for them to reach.
Right, absolutely. So it's, in theory, you should be doing this. In reality, your actual is this,
Yeah.
and it's really determining how close you are to that. And the closer that variance is, the better it shows that you're operating, and the better you're predicting what's going to happen. So why is there usually a variance? Why? Where's that coming from?
Well, we're human.
Okay.
If I cut an onion, you cut an onion, our yield's going to be different. If waste happens, you can't predict everything, and especially if you have something that's has a short shelf life, i.e., fresh seafood, or something, and you just don't sell as much as you think you're going to sell. You can have some waste.
Yep.
Now, that could be theft, that could be a lot of different things, but there's a lot of, we're human. We all make mistakes. It could be something as simple as counting error. It could be something as simple as putting in the button wrong, or my favorite, which should not exist if I had a restaurant, which I'm not going to do, would be I would never have open food. Open food and open liquor.
Oh, the open food button. Oh
are
my
the
gosh.
bane of my existence when I try to run numbers.
So real quick, what does that mean? You got an open food button. That means that the front of house is just selling something off the shelves and recording it as a generic button.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what does that do into your food cost?
You're basically, it's screwing it up. As simple as I can put it. It's easy to hide stuff there for theft or operational losses. And some people think it's easier and faster. It actually slows down the wait staff. So, and then it comes out of the kitchen. You don't know what that was sold. It could have been a lobster. It could have been a side of blue cheese.
Right. Now, is it inevitable that you're going to have something open food, like a daily special or something in there that you as a restaurant owner or operator just can't avoid?
Theoretically, no.
Actually,
yes, it happens.
Yeah.
That when it comes down to the manager to track that stuff and make sure that it's in there, or they at least they know about it. We had a book that, and then what happens? I add a button so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah. So maybe the biggest obvious analogy for this entire AVT is, here's open food. We sold something, but the system doesn't know what it is. You and the client, the customer, the guest coming in might know exactly what it is, but maybe you made one of your specials a little different. Maybe you added product to something a little differently. You got open food or even open beverage, and now you've got this dollar amount on your P&L, but it's not attached to anything. And that's going to maybe improve or change your actual and create a variance between your theoretical.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay, so let's dive in even further. So let's say there's a set price for your menu items and the cost of goods that you need to create those items. So you've got it all portioned out on the ideal, the theoretical. If an operator is able to get the actual cost to match the theoretical cost, they've got the right prep, they've got the right staffing, they've got the right portion size, they're selling it at the right number, they're selling it consistency, then it's going to show that that actual is near that theoretical and that operator's doing a good job, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now let's say that the actual versus theoretical has a low variance. So now we see that that operator is doing well according to AVT and the low variance, but the business is not profitable. Would you then suggest that maybe the prices paid for goods, or maybe the prices that you're selling to the customer, are off by something?
If you're, then your theoretical's off, because if you didn't build that into your operation, into your business plan of, hey, I need to make this number my break-even point to sell this much per day at this food cost percent, and you're hitting that food cost percent, or you're hitting the actual, you're hitting the theoretical with your actual. Wow, this is confusing at times. But if you're hitting that number and you're still not making money, then the bigger picture's off, and that might be your pricing. It might be a lot of things. But if I sell that, if you're nailing that and you're not making money, there's something going wrong.
Yeah.
There's something that you did not plan for.
AVT is just a really good way for business owners and operators to evaluate how well the business is running. And sometimes a well-run business is not making profit. And this can really show you where that is so that you can make adjustments to that theoretical. Like you said, the theoretical is off, so that you can boost that actual and really get up to the point where you're making profit. You got to make sure that the theoretical includes profit in there, so that when your operators are firing and they're getting everything right, that profit is built into your actual.
Yeah. And that means before you even open a restaurant, you need to know that. Yeah,
For sure.
Or at least put something out there. Hey, if we're hitting these numbers, we're making this much money. That should be in your business plan. And most banks to get a loan want to see that.
Right. You can't just say, well, I think that it should be this much. No, you should know how much your menu item should be.
Yeah.
So if your variance between actual and theoretical is extreme, or worse, let's say growing over time, like it's a small amount, gets a little bigger, a little bigger, a little bigger. Would you say that something's going on within the operations of the business?
Yeah, I mean, if it's getting worse as you go on, there's an issue. Either the commodities have gone up, there might be an operational loss. Someone's walking out the back door, something's not being rung up correctly on the POS system. Maybe it's just I've seen it where you've ordered something through a purveyor and you didn't get it, but you got charged for it. I mean, stuff like that. So there's a lot of things it can be. I know we'll probably get this a little further down. The amount of restaurants that actually do actual is very, very, very minute.
I also think that if you see the variance increasing or even decreasing over time, you can look at a learning and development training situation, and maybe you've got a general manager who is moving on to a regional position, or thinks that they're moving on to a regional position, or is applying elsewhere and is trying to get out of there, and you don't know about it, and you see these variances going, that could show a lack of effort over time, or they're trying to pass the responsibility onto their bench strength. They're trying to pass it on to the AGM, or trying to pass it on to somebody else. They've handed off the keys to the inventory to someone else, and you see these variances popping up, and it goes back to the human error. In actual is different from one person to the next. So you might be able to look at your AVT over time and determine that this operator is choosing to do things differently, and that might be a staffing or a motivation or something in there that they feel it's time to pass the torch. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but either way, they're already making the decision without you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's cover
a lot of human error.
Oh yeah. Or, want and will and desire, or lack of motivation that could absolutely affect your A versus T. So you mentioned operational loss or theft. Let's talk about some of the reasons that would really be increasing your variance between A versus T. So operational loss and theft, and that's just something walking out the door. Could that be something passed over the bar, just giveaways from your bar or staff? What could that be?
Yeah, that's theft. Anything given away or taken. If you're allowed to order certain things for your employee meal and you order something off the menu, that's to me theft too. It's just things going away not tracked. That's the worst part, is when you order, you make yourself something to eat, but you don't ring it in. Even if it's free, you still got to ring it in.
So what about free refills or staff beverages or things like that? We talked about that on our previous video. Is refills. Do you account for those?
I build it in. So we just took an average, and we're off by a little bit. I'm not as worried about that I am as consistency of, hey, everything needs to be rung in, everything needs to be tracked, and that's where inventory comes in. There's a lot of things that come into it, but anything that's given away that is not approved by management or the owner or by senior leadership, to me, is theft. Operational loss and theft can be operational loss, but operational loss is not necessarily always theft.
Sure. One of the biggest excuses that I've heard before when somebody's off is an operator say, well, it's a miscount. I'm like, cool, miscounts happen, but if it's truly a miscount, guess what happens the very next week? you're going to gain it back or you're going to lose it, whichever was the opposite. Because if it's truly a miscount, you just eyeballed something wrong, you counted it wrong, then hopefully that very item is counted correctly the next time. And if you said, oh, I had 20 of them when you really had 24, well, you've got 4 on hand that you didn't count. So guess what happens next week? You're going to count those 4. And now you're going to go, oh, it looks like I gained 4. It's like dropping a 20 on the street going, oh, I don't know, it's a loss. But then picking up a 20, you're like, oh, well, I found 20. I'm like, no, you did not find a 20. You broke even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Vegas all over again.
There you go. Yeah. There's also technical errors in the point of sale. What might be happening there?
I think it's just either categoried wrong. Your mapping could be off. But really, it's something that's the one that drives me the most crazy is when somebody does like an open food or just add the button. Do it once, that's fine, but add a button. It doesn't take too long. I've seen me do it. So I think that is part of it. Then there's also operator error. You know, somebody just hit the wrong thing. They're getting smoked on Friday. They say, I meant to hit steak instead of chicken and can get on the fly. Sure. And they never fixed on the POS system, or they never fixed on the ticket. Customer gets charged something else, but they sold this. So that happens too. You know, my biggest thing on that is just, you know, let's just track everything we possibly can. There will be some mistakes, as long as we note those mistakes and track everything. And we had a book, just, you know, we had that as a manager book that we talked back and forth. So at least you're all on the same page. And then when you do go to your inventory and there is a discrepancy, you can actually look at that book and go, hey, this is what happened 3, 4, 5 days ago.
Right. And I think it's really important when you say just add a button that there's some operators out there that they don't have that luxury, that maybe that's corporate or that maybe that's the owner or somebody's got a lockdown on being able to add that button to the point of sale. And I guarantee whoever's got the lockdown on that point of sale, who's trying to control that, is somebody who's really, really invested in how well you're doing. So to everyone out there who is holding down the buttons, you've got to open up some line of communication so that your operators, your staff can tell you what buttons they need. Because if you don't want to provide those, then that tells me that you're not paying attention to what's actually being sold. And you need to have a way for them to be able to create those buttons, be able to create the price points, be able to fix all that almost in real time if you have to, so that you know what's going on with your product, with your business, with what's happening, and you're not preventing them from fixing your AVT, and you're actually encouraging this open food button that we talk so down about.
Yeah, I mean, it's harder if you're an operator or your operation is very seasonal and your menus are weekly, and it's hard. It's hard to do a lot of that tracking. There are ways to do it, and you don't want to spend all day trying to add buttons, but there are certain things that you can do to track. You know, if you always have a steak special and you're roughly running the same thing, you can put a steak special button and you can kind of know what it is because you're on the day to day. Just make it somewhat easy or somewhat trackable. When then you do inventory or do your numbers, you can go, oh, I know what that was.
Right. It's about knowing what's going on, and that open food button, generally I don't know. So if you have the special and you know what it is, the special, you know, it might be a generic button, but you got special, add crab, special, add shrimp, whatever it might be, because you're used to the special being certain things on certain days. So let me ask you this. How would it affect your actual versus theoretical if, as an operator, you go to the grocery store every Saturday morning to buy orange juice instead of buying it from a food provider?
It's gonna hit your bottom line eventually. I mean, depending on what you're buying, but in general, it's you know, there's a hidden cost to it. I've had people say, well, I can get the same product from Sam's that I get from a food purveyor. Like some things are for food grade, I mean, for restaurants only. There's a lot of stuff out there you can't get at the supermarket. I'm gonna tell you, there's a difference between mayonnaise, the one you get at Sam's, and the one that you buy from your big box, you know, distributors. The exact same brand name, exact same brand. I'm not gonna say the brand. There is a difference between the two. There is a thickness difference between the two and a yield difference that people would be very surprised that there's a lot more air in the stuff you're getting at Sam's, and you wonder why it's the same price or a touch cheaper. but you're not getting the same yield out of it.
Right.
And then there's another hidden cost: your time. How much is your time worth? How much
There
is
you
it your time to go as a manager or an owner to go to the store on a Saturday? I mean, to me, that's work. It's not fun. It's work. So you're going to have to, what is your hourly? I always tell owners, what's your hourly rate? What do you charge yourself? They're like, I don't
Yep.
know. Well, you need to know that. Or
Right.
even worse, if you're sending somebody to the store
Yeah.
on company time, and then liability comes in effect. And then if they're getting chicken and they're transporting it. So there's a lot of stuff that makes my mind go.
Yeah. And I also think from a learning and development standpoint, you're paying attention to your operators out in the field, and they have to go buy the same product every Saturday. That's poor planning. Like you're not looking at your labor projections. You're not looking at trends in the market. You're not looking at holidays that are coming up. You're not looking at year-over-year sales. You're not paying attention. And if you have to go buy something once because a large party shows up and orders it, that makes sense. But if you're doing this every Saturday or consistently throughout a month, I'm going to look beyond the AVT and recognize that you're not planning according to the business that you're trying to run.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes in. Like you said, though, there are times where you need to go run to the store, get some lemons, get some limes. I have a great idea for a special, but we need limes. Yeah, okay, that's not what I'm talking about. But if it's consistently every week going to get something because you ran out, you have a par problem. You have an ordering problem. There might be a lot of things if it's consistent. I think everything we talk about, everything we talk about. Consistency is pretty much what we strive to do. We understand there are going to be issues, and it's a restaurant business. You don't know how many people are coming, but if you're consistently doing your job or consistently on top of things, somehow you see how those operators or those managers do a lot better.
You should have a decent idea about what's coming in your door, and unless it's way off from your expectations, you should have managed accordingly. So those are so many different reasons why you should be having your AVT and why you should be looking at it from an operator and an owner standpoint. So let's talk about the steps in getting it set up. How difficult is it to set up software so that you can get the data you need to see your AVT?
This is where we're probably going to disagree a little bit. Now, to get theoretical, it's pretty easy.
Okay.
Not too hard. It's not too much work. Basic computer knowledge, no problem. Basic restaurant knowledge, no problem.
Software-wise, what do you need?
You need a POS system you can track your sales, and you need an inventory. And it's pretty much the two major things you need.
And you need to have entered items and ingredients into
your food cost,
point of sale?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So you need your food cost. Doesn't have to be in the point of sale, but you need to have your food cost somewhere. You need to have your inventory, and you need to have your sales. You need to have each recipe broken down pretty much. Now, that takes a while, depending on the size of your restaurant. That's kind of a pain in the butt. But once you get it done, it's done. And then you just adjust it while commodities adjust. That's not the hard part. To me, the hard part is actually getting your actual. And I would argue you don't need it.
Oh, you don't think that you need the actual for the AVT?
Not most operators, no.
Why not? Why you're not even arguing? You just made a statement. So let's hear the argument. Why do you not need it?
I say most operators don't need it because a lot of them, it's a lot of work to get your actual, and to get to that number, right? Theoretical, usually you'll know basically what's going on if you run your P&L. You can see ups and downs. You can tell things on inventory. You can kind of tell. I always ask operators that want the actual number, go, why do you want it? Like, what do you want to use that number for? Is this to bonus people? Then we're talking a whole different thing. Are you a corporation that have 20 stores? You need it. You need it. But in most independent operating restaurants, it is a waste of the owner's time to do the actual, because it's a lot of work. And it's a
lot of work.
And it's a lot of work to be consistent on it, because you miss 1 month, you miss 1 week, or whatever, however you do your inventory, it throws a wrench into everything. And if you're not on top of it, it can be, depending on how many food items you have, how many line items are on your inventory, it could be a nightmare. So
are you saying don't do inventory?
No. Inventory, go do the inventory all day long.
Okay.
I'm just saying your actual running the numbers actually running your sales numbers and having a program that spits all that numbers out to you, most places don't need it. You can easily just know what you sell, look at your inventory, and kind of compare the numbers just by looking at it.
So you still need to run an inventory. You still
Yes.
need to have everything set up in the point of sale. You still need to review your PMIX.
Yes. So, yep.
Are those not all factors in determining your actual?
They are, but I'm not. I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't need a program to spit out my actual numbers. Does that make sense?
So what do you need? What do you need to find the actual? Okay, so you're saying you don't need software to help me with actual
Yes.
because you can get the actual with what you have in front of you.
Yes.
So you're not saying ignore the actual. You're saying there's easier
No,
ways to get it.
I'm just saying for software points. When
Okay.
people want a software to run their actual, most of the time it's a waste of their time when they can
Okay.
just look at what their sales are to what their inventory is. I'm not saying don't do inventory, don't track your numbers. I'm just saying you don't need the software to do that. I'm
Okay.
sorry if I
Fair.
misspoke.
Then
I thought you thought I was doing a different thing.
no, because you set me up for disagreeing with you, and I'll agree with that. In this sense, if you can find your actual, we're good to go. We can evaluate what's going on. We can evaluate where the responsibility is, where the loss might be, and we can determine where accountability lies if we have the A and if we have the T. And you're not saying not to have it. You're just saying that there's different and better, more efficient ways to arrive at the A and the T that some operators may or may not know about. And that'd be something that we'd be happy to help you get there. And all I'm saying from a training development standpoint, as long as you get there, we have something to evaluate you on and your performance, your business performance, your individual performance, we're good to go. Let's have it. So I think we both agree that you need the A and the T. Just
Yeah.
maybe we disagree on how to get there.
Well, I just there's such a blurred line between actual. Like,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, yes, you need to track, you need to have inventory, you need to have your sales, and you need to know if there is something that's off on those. But you do not need to literally run your numbers every single month on a program to spit out actual. I guess I didn't say that. Software and software that because most places they do inventory separate or have a separate system for that. They have a separate system for their food costs,
Yeah.
and they have a separate system for their POS system. So a lot of people take those three numbers or have those at the ready, and they can kind of compare the two. So sticking to a spreadsheet, to me, that's a waste of time.
Okay.
I want to know what your sales are. I need to know your theoretical food costs that fix your menu costs, and I need to know inventory. But I don't need you to do that third step and stick them all together. I just don't.
Okay.
Most of the time, I don't need it because I can track it. If I'm tracking my inventory every single month, I'm going to know something's off. And if I see something's off, I'm like, well, let me go look at my sales, and I'll go look at my steak sales. Like, oh, well, we had a big party, so we sold more steaks. That's all I need to know. I don't need them to be spitting out numbers every single month unless you're a corporate and you're running like 20 stores, and then it's a different story.
Sure. Got it. And I like it. We've got the same end goal. So this is you saying that we're going to disagree and me finding a way to agree with you. I'm trying hard here.
I know.
So
Actually, when I heard myself talk, I'm like, all right. I guess I got a little confusing because I'm known to do that. I chase my tail. Shiny nickel
I'm
syndrome.
not saying no A. I'm just saying let's find a different A. So final question here. What overall should business owners consider when they're looking to invest in any form, actual versus theoretical? They don't have it. What do they
Invest
need to
in
think about?
software.
Anything.
Anything.
Anything. What overall? What does a business owner need to think about? They're like, man, I don't have this. What are my steps? What should I do next?
Man, you categories is it's really difficult because you need to like look forward. Like, what are you going to do in the future? Because if you're going to invest in a POS system, you want something that kind of makes life easier, that integrates with stuff. But you need to think that through, and then ask what reports, what numbers do you really want to see? I care way more about labor than I care about 1 or 2% on a invoice coming in from a food purveyor. That's way more money out of that that could be lost there than it could be on the other end. I just think looking into for the technology changes. I mean, think of iPhones 10 years ago compared to what they are now. So in this business, we're lacking in technology, and there's no software out there yet that I know of that integrates everything in your restaurant. There just doesn't exist. It's all patchwork. So whatever you do, looking for technology to help fix or find or know numbers, why do you want the numbers? And make sure that those integrate. And integration is a headache beyond a headache.
Fantastic. Great talking points. Even from your number perspective and then the HR L&D standpoint, really having a process in place to determine actual versus theoretical gives data that you can directly point towards accountability. We'd love to hear your thoughts and best practice. Leave us some comments. We'll review, we'll follow up. Be sure to follow the channel, show some love, and we'll keep coming back with more strategies and insights to improve your operations. Thanks so much.
Thank you.